Hi, and welcome to the channel. My name is Jenée, and I'm the Luxury Vagabond. I try to bring you women that have been on their journey. Maybe they're a different place in the path, but something they say will resonate with you. Bringing you today, Bridget, and Bridget's going to share her story with us. Let's dive in.
Okay, so for me first of all, and I love how that you kind of like preface our conversation along life taking you on different journeys because that is exactly what has happened to me. So many turns since you and I had last talked. So just briefly, I recently moved from the United States to Portugal. It was one of my lifelong dreams that by the time that I was 50, I wanted to be living and working abroad in Europe. And so this was the year that I needed to make that dream happen. So I arrived here this year to Portugal, moved into my apartment, just really taking the time to really get acclimated to this beautiful city. Porto stole my heart. I think I had mentioned to you one time before how that I truly believe that this city chose me.
Yes.
I did not necessarily choose Porto. I feel like that Porto chose me, and because it chose me and opened up so many doors, I feel so blessed to be here, and I love this city. So yeah, I originally moved here in January. I had to go back to the States and quit my job, which was very scary. I will be honest and say that for
And
anyone that is
that's what I'm going
listening.
to tell us how that feels like to be like, this is it.
Scary because I divorced later in life. I divorced at age 42, and my husband was the main breadwinner when I divorced. So when I divorced, I knew I was taking on the responsibility of being financially responsible for
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
until I retire.
Yeah.
And I had moved to California, and I had just gotten to a place in my life and my career where I was making the most money I'd ever made in my life. I had a nice comfortable life, a comfortable saving. I was living
Yes.
in San Diego. I was living in San Diego, California. But then when that drum beat of this dream kept resonating as far as me wanting to move to Europe for a better quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I had wanted for my job to give me permission to work from abroad,
Okay.
and my managers and directors, they were all on board, but it all ended up being in HR's lap, and
Mm.
that was pivotal at the time with HR when I had met with HR about making this decision. To seeing could we, you know, would they allow me to work abroad because of the whole legality. There's a lot
Yes.
of it's not just work from abroad, but there's legal matters. There's taxation,
Oh,
and I
definitely.
provided all of yes, I had provided all of these solutions to help to see how it could work. But I will never forget. I spoke with my HR rep, and his words to me were along the lines of, "Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and usually when it comes to us, this is where dreams come to die. And I'm sorry to inform you that we won't be able to approve you to work from Europe, and your dream is going to probably die. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, and I wish that we could do more." And that day, honey, I had
Oh,
time. I
oh
had
my
time that
gosh.
I had time, and I took off my glasses, and I said, "Sir, in all due respect, I said the dream will not die. I will
Yes.
be moving to Europe,
Yes.
whether I'm working for my company's name or
Yes.
not.
Or
I
not.
will be moving to Europe." In the second round of, and then he went into this whole thing, this spiel. But what stuck with me was when he said, "I always wanted to move to Mexico," and it dawned on me. I'm like,
Mm.
"You trying to kill my dream because you had some dreams that were deferred." And so I felt like in that moment, like, okay, because your dreams could not come to fulfillment for whatever reason, you
Yes.
thought that you were going to be a killer in somebody else's dream.
Oh, and
So
that
when
is
I,
so
so
common, but it's so common in circles, family, friends, those types of things. Just because they, for whatever reason, like you said, dream deferred, they're going to try to defer yours.
absolutely, absolutely. And, a lot of us stay or a lot of people do not make a leap this big because of finances, and it's a valid consideration.
Yes. Yes.
Leave a. So I'm not saying just to quit your job without any type of financial recourse, but I
Yes.
really had to my why, and I knew for me a better quality of life, and I laid all of this out when I had
Yes.
left my job. The stress of living in America, the stress of just living in America as a Black person during that
Yes.
time. I mean, I laid everything on the table as to say, this is a move. Not only, it's not me moving to Europe because I want to just move and just have
Right.
coffee every day, have their lifestyle. I mean, there's some legitimate considerations,
There are.
healthcare,
Yes.
life, health, everything was on the line. So when it was all said and done and we had our follow-up meeting, they asked me, they said, so what are you going to do? And I told them, it's time for me to go home. And I gave them my 2-week notice. And I literally, my last day was on May the 5th. 2 days later, I was on the plane with everything that I owned, moving here to Porto. And when I first got here, I could not believe, like, wow, you really did that. You really did that. And I have, so there is a little bit of shock and awe that, like, first it's off like, okay, you really did that. And then the second question is, what have you done?
What have you done? Right. It's the right. And that it's like both at the same time. It's like, I can't believe you pulled that off. Good for you. And then it's like, what did you just do? What did you
What
just do?
I don't know if you watched The Lion King when Scar tells Simba, what have you done? It was that what done. But over the months, as I said, I acclimated, and then I did have another job that I was working, like part-time
Okay.
to have income. And that's a segue to the bigger reimagined dream that I really want to really focus on. So I had this job, and I lost, and in September, it was, the whole tugging again of like, I'm here in Europe. My second dream was, okay, if I'm here, I want to only work and do what I'm passionate about. I don't
Yeah.
want to make this move and stuck with a job that I'm still not happy with.
Mm.
I don't want money. I want to work. I want to let my passion make money for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I that I wanted to host a Thanksgiving dinner here. I used to be a personal chef years ago, and I gave up on that dream to move to California. And I love cooking. Cooking was something that I could do for free, and I knew that I was good at it. And I knew
Yes.
that if allowed the opportunity, I would resurrect that here. And I literally put it out in the universe that I want to host this Thanksgiving dinner in downtown Porto. And I said like 24 people. I put that out in the universe and
Yes.
announced it to the world
Yes.
on a Tuesday. On that Wednesday, Wednesday, the next day, I lost my contract. I
Really?
lost a contract, my job. And so then it was like, oh, so you really, this is
You
not going to be right on facades. This is
no.
going to be something you are going to have to make your livelihood. Like
Because I
God,
think you had that feeling. You had that feeling behind it. And the universe listened and was like, I hear you, Bridget, and we're going to do it
yeah,
now. We're not going to just step
yeah,
into it.
exactly.
Yes.
And it was like, okay, now, well, I mean, so I didn't have a safety net as to say, okay, well, I'm just going to try it and see will it work. But let me tell you how the universe beautifully worked it out. I posted this event. It's only supposed to be for 24 people. My event sold out in 3 weeks for 50 people. People kept
Bridget.
wanting. People were prepaying for the RSVP. People were prepaying. They were like paying for 3 and 4 people and sending me emails like, please, can you at least add at least a few more? So I ended up going from 24 people to 50 people that I had to cook Thanksgiving dinner
I
for.
had
So
no idea.
I was just,
I had no idea.
and how
Remember
the
when I reached out to you and you were like, I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm thinking
yeah,
regular Thanksgiving dinner.
yeah,
I'm not thinking for 50.
Yes, it was for 50 people. And so I was very excited about this. So there's a little bit of sadness in this story because my grandmother, she was the one that taught me how to cook. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was the one that, that when I did start Southern Gal in Portugal, this was going to be her legacy here in
Okay.
Europe. And
Yeah.
in September, October, that she had kind of fell ill. She was in the hospital.
Okay.
And I ended up passing 5 days before my event. She ended up passing. And when I tell you, it was just like I had the responsibility of all of these people expecting Thanksgiving dinner. And then I'm
Yes.
grieving the death of my, and I'm over here in Europe. I can't make it back to the States for her
Right.
funeral. All of it compounding all at one time. And I don't know where I got the strength. I believe it was her strength because
I
when I
know it
tell you,
was. I know it
it
was.
definitely was. One of the statements that she would always say, she would, because she would always get up early and cook. And she would always say that I can't lay in the bed all day long when I have food to put on. And on the days when I felt like I couldn't even get out of bed because of the
Yes.
grief, I mean, it
Yeah.
was like, she got me all the way together, like, get up. You're going to get
Yes.
in this
You
kitchen
gonna
and
get
sit here
this?
and cook because people are depending on you. And can I tell you, it was the most beautiful Thanksgiving dinner experience. That we got a chance to raise a toast to her. People were
Yes.
so happy, so thankful,
Yes.
like, thank you for doing this for us. I mean, and people are already wanting to prepay for next year. So I have people that were there wanting to prepay for next year. I got a waiting list of folks saying, if that for next year, can you please get us in? I
Can
have
you get
people
us
coming
in?
from
Yes.
all over. People are literally flying in and booking hotels to come to Thanksgiving dinner. So when I tell you, the universe dreamed a bigger dream
There you go.
than I ever
Yes.
imagined
Yes.
myself. And during the time when I was unsure
Hmm.
or unsure of whether or not I was making the right decision, like literally pulling that financial trigger, as I say,
Yes.
you are in corporate America to just step out on a dream
Exactly.
that you how well it's going to be received in
Hmm.
another country. You
Oh,
understand?
lots. There
It
were
was a
a
huge
lot of moving pieces with this. It wasn't like you were just giving up your job and then you're still in the same
yeah,
country. You got all these other things that are stable. You were like, everything was going to be new.
everything was on it. So yeah, so I'm here. I'm on the hill. So that was Thanksgiving. So I pulled off Thanksgiving dinner. Then I pulled off about like 47 Thanksgiving orders for people that couldn't make the dinner. I had
Yes.
47 orders I had to finish off for Thanksgiving. And now I have 53 that I need to push out by Friday, which is why you see me dressed comfortably.
You
So
are dressed to work. You're dressed to work.
I'm,
That's what I'm saying. You
I'm,
working today.
I'm dressed to cook. I'm so grateful that God made space for me here, and that's what I really want to share with people. Wherever you are meant to be, because I wanted to start Southern Gal in Southern Cal when I was in California, but it was not the
Mm,
time,
no,
not the place.
no.
Uh, and so for me to be over here on the other side of the world, and for Southern Gal in Portugal to be so well received as it
Yes.
has been, and people are giving me good reviews, and I have repeat customers. It's been amazing, all the doors that has opened up. So I'm just excited about just taking that leap.
Yes.
And I really bring that home is, if you don't bet on anyone else, bet on yourself and
Hmm.
really get out of your head, to get out of the whole wishing and dreaming and get into taking deliberate action and making some things happen. All that took was me just putting out there in the universe, this is what I want to do.
This is what you
And
want.
then
Yes.
yeah,
But
what I want.
but Bridget,
And
you also had to show up for that. Do you see what I'm saying? You had to put it out there and you had to go to the place. In this case, you had to go to the place to make it happen because you weren't in the right
yes,
place at that time. So you had to show up as well. in that and keep pushing
Yeah.
through, even through your grandmother
Yeah.
transitioning. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, you know, this is still her legacy. You do know that.
I like. I strongly feel. I strongly feel that. I
Hmm.
absolutely. I
Yes.
absolutely do. And because that when I look back, if I had not made each move in my life when I did, if I had not divorced, if I had not moved to California, if I had not visited Portugal, like what in 2018, if
Hmm.
I had not, visas, and I mean, it was so many things that happened along the way that all built up to the momentum of what is happening now. And I'm so glad that I was aware enough to understand and move when the universe was telling me to move.
Yes.
Even
Yes. Because we don't even see, but you don't see the connection all the time, right? Like now you can look back and you be like, even though I had that hard time or that was difficult or challenging, it was necessary.
absolutely,
It was necessary.
absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm so happy. I feel like Oprah said it best recently. How did she say that I'm just living the dream? And I, about the color purple, and I feel that way now. Like I'm just living the dream. I'm living something that I built, uh, and that I can be proud of, and that I can be happy doing, and I can do anything with it. The
Yes.
sky's the limit of to mobilize this or what I want to do with it. The
Hmm.
sky's the limit. It feels good that um it feels good that I just followed my heart, even if it led me all the way to Europe. I'm so glad that I followed my heart.
Well, and that's I mean, but that's the thing. I think a lot of times we feel like if we do that, we're not sure what's going to happen. And we don't allow us ourselves to be like, you know what, I'd rather say I did follow my heart and maybe it led me this way and maybe I had to regroup, maybe I had to do some things, but I still kept trying to follow it. I feel like for me, I feel better in that. Like I feel like I'm showing up for myself, right? And that I have a gift. Maybe there's a gift that I need to be working on, I need to share. And if I don't keep working towards it, nobody's going to ever see it.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's my story. I thank God for everything. I thank God for every trial, every setback, every decision. But when I tell you, this whole move was not for the faint of heart. When I tell you there
Yes.
were many downs along the way, there were breakdowns, physical breakdowns. There were so many breakdowns. This is such a monumental move. And to be honest with you, I still don't think my mind and my body has caught up with it. Some days I can still
Yes.
find myself, and it's not because I'm exhausted, because I've done a whole lot, but sometimes the weight of
The
this
weight.
move,
Yes.
it like falls on at different times, and I have to rest,
And
and
you
I
have
have
to,
to just,
but I'm glad
get
you're,
away some.
but I'm glad you're saying that, Bridget, to let people know, like this is a major move, a major shift in your life. But at the same time, when you tell me this is my story, I'd be like, Bridget, that's your story till now, because your story is still being written.
Still being written. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. But you know what? This reminds me, remember when we were first talking, you were telling me about the whole process of leaving Southern California and that you actually have two grown daughters. So
Do.
do you want to like share how that is to go through that process when you have somebody you love, you know what I mean? That maybe they're not in that part to go with you. Yes. Yes.
Family are the
Hmm.
two things really hold a lot of people back from making this move. My two daughters, Victoria and Olivia, they have been so supportive. I talked to them. I literally just talked to them before we got on.
Okay.
Every day, every other day. I mean, we are on WhatsApp. WhatsApp has
Okay.
became our friend. They
Yeah.
like call. They like join. They like set up calls for me to join all throughout my day. They are the only two people that are allowed to interrupt my day any time of day. And let me tell you, they do.
They did.
But I that we stay connected and we can just go on the phone and talk and laugh as if we are in the living room together. So ironically, the distance has made us so much closer. I feel so much.
Really?
I, I this is the most connected that I've ever felt with my daughters, and we have thousands of miles between
Right.
us.
Right.
Our bond is absolutely incredible. And my youngest daughter is in California, my oldest is in Alabama. And to see my youngest daughter over the summer, she flew to Alabama just to spend time with her sister. And they like videoed me in and kept me in the loop that they are maintaining that bond,
Oh,
even though I'm
yes.
that.
Now, why
I
do you
mean,
think, we're going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you this. Why do you think, because this is a profound recognition that you've had, is that the relationship has grown stronger, not grown
yeah,
weaker by your
right.
distance. So why do you think that is? Why? I mean, and
I
we're just speculating right now. We're just,
I think for one, I think the happiness factor
mm,
is one. I never forget when I divorced. My oldest daughter told me, "Mom, just go and live your life and be happy." And I
mhm.
think that I am profoundly happy. They like see my social media post. They know how happy I am, and that gives them a level of comfort and peace. And
Yes.
I'm also happy into their life. Like my oldest daughter has a boyfriend and a little grand dog. I call him my grand dog, dude. But I'm able to peep into her life and see how amazingly happy she is. And my youngest daughter she's still loving her life in California. Each of
Yes.
us are where we want to be. Each of us are living and doing and being in the life that we want to be in. So I think that us being individually happy, that when
Yes.
we come together, a shared collectiveness of us just sharing our happiness. So
I
it's
love
that,
that.
and then we have given each other space and room, literally, to
Mhm.
like grow and to live our lives. And I think for any parent, I never I never wanted to assume that my proximity to my children was the only way that would ensure their growth or their success or
Yes.
their.
Yes.
That's not true. It's how I raised them. It's the conversations that we are still having. It's us still being there for each other.
Mhm.
Like my youngest ended up, she was in a car wreck and she ended up having oral surgery. And and I was there as if I was there physically. 3 o'clock in the morning, I get that call.
Mhm.
I'm on the phone with her for hours until I know that she's
Yes.
okay. So you
Yes.
still maintain presence with your family,
Mhm.
even though you are not physically there. Out of sight does not mean out of mind. And that's one of the things that I made sure I told my daughters. I am always here 100% available to you. It
Yes.
doesn't matter what type of
What
day or
time?
what time zone that we are in. Whenever you feel the need to call me, I'm going to pick up that phone. So they know that, and I've kept that promise. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been so much so to, of course, I do want to go back and visit them in the States, but I don't feel the need to be back in the States around them because we're so
You're
close.
so close, and you're still part of their everyday life. You feel, you know what I mean? It's still, you don't feel like you're missing out on things. And
Right, exactly.
I was listening to you talk about your presence and how you as a parent are like, hey, they, what I have given them needs to still be there, regardless of if I'm right there down the street or whatever. They still need to be able to take that essence of what I've given them and bring it wherever they are and continue to like grow as a person, grow as a young
Yeah,
adult, those types of things. And I think about that the distance sometimes that space will allow you to really see the relationship for what it is. And what I mean by that is you just said you all are in a happy place, right? And then y'all are able to come together. But when you also in relationships, when there's space, you can see maybe there's things that need to be fixed. Maybe there's parts of the relationship
right.
that need to be reinforced. so that you still have that closeness, because there's some people that are like together every day and they still don't have a great relationship.
Exactly. And I think for our particular relationship, they wanted for me in some kind of ways to know that they had it. Like, Mom,
Mm.
I got this. Like, sometimes I come in on the tail end of them two having a conversation, and they're like, Mom, they after the fact
After the
what they have been.
we've been working on it. We already got it covered, but we just want to, yeah.
So I think the fact of me being able to stand back hands off and to trust that they got this,
Yes.
that they are making decisions for their lives, they got it. And so that's a great comfort for me, because as long as I know that they are okay, I can be okay over here.
That's true. That's true. And I just love that they were so supportive and like, Mom, I want you to be happy. And you stepping into that and showing that you can make yourself happy and make choices to make yourself happy indirectly
Yeah.
allows them to do the same, right? By you
Yeah.
doing
And
that.
I'm gonna tell you this. So when I came, I actually flew back to Porto to move to live for good in May. She
Okay.
surprised me. She flew from Alabama, California, and she literally took the flight back to Porto with me. So she came and flew back here to
Oh,
Portugal and stayed a week, like doing Mother's Day. That week she stayed and she helped me set my apartment up. We got a chance to spend a week together and explore different parts of Portugal. And when I tell you, it was the greatest gift, but the greatest gift that she, like, Mom, I get it. Mom, I understand why you're here. You are so happy. I understand
that
why
is
you chose
beautiful.
here.
That is
She
absolutely,
gets it. It's
yes.
funny how she had to come and see for herself. Okay, I'll come and fly out here and see
Yeah,
what for.
I don't blame her though. I don't blame her. She like, let me get my feet on the ground and let me see what my mom is over here doing.
But yeah, it was so beautiful. And I tell her all the time, like, you don't know the gift. That was the greatest gift I've ever received from you. Was
Yes.
just that time, you know.
Yes, that
It
time.
was amazing.
Oh my gosh. I was thinking what you were talking about when you said when you started your business, how you wanted to start it in California, and then but you now know this is where you were supposed to start it. I was just thinking about that in the story you told me about your apartment and how you get signs that you are in the right place. So can
Yeah.
you kind of share like where you ended up living and the aesthetics
Yes.
of it and all of that?
So I live in downtown Porto in the most beautiful sunlit apartment with windows galore. Sunlight just beams on my face every morning. When I tell you, it is the lifestyle of the rich and famous for 50 a month. But when I had decided to move to Porto, well, originally I thought that Lisbon was going to be my
We talked
city.
about that. Yeah.
I spent 4 months looking in Lisbon. Nothing came up. So I expanded my search to Porto, and I said, okay, well, may the best apartment win. Whatever city gives me the best apartment, that's where I'm going to
That's
move. And so I knew the area of where I wanted to live. I have a favorite steakhouse here called Moo Steakhouse. Everything with me is always food centric. So I knew I wanted to be wherever
Bridget
I
said,
locate.
let me move next to the food. I need to be.
Oh, I knew that much. I didn't know the name of the street or nothing. But when they had showed me, okay, well, this listening is coming available. I did not see the apartment. I only Googled and saw it was located. And when I saw where it was at in the city, I was like, that's my apartment. That's that was.
That was for
And
you.
I got,
Yes.
yeah, and I got in contact with the realtor. He called me like 3 o'clock in the morning, San Diego time. So we're up in the morning at 3 o'clock. He's doing a walkthrough through the apartment, and this was their model apartment. And I fell
Okay.
in love with it. Like, okay, this is the one that I want. I'm thinking that I would have to go through this whole bidding war like I
Right.
did in Lisbon. And I was like, okay, so what do I need? I need to do to reserve it. He said, just tell me that you want it. So I didn't even have to fight for this apartment. I did not jump through a lot of hoops. I didn't have to outbid someone. This apartment, when I tell you, it was reserved just for me.
Can we
And
go back
it's
to that?
funny.
Look, Bridget, can we take a moment to go back to that statement of all you have to do is tell me you want it?
Yes, he said, all you have to do is tell me you want it, and I will reserve it for you.
That's with
No money
everything, though.
down,
Isn't that with
no
everything?
deposit.
Isn't that with everything in life? All you have to do is tell me you want it.
If we trust it, if we trust it.
Yes.
And I still, even after he had did that, I'm like, okay, a couple weeks later, are you sure you don't want, you don't no money? I still could not, you know what I mean? But well, yes, but I love it. I'm right in city center. I can stand on my balcony and see City Hall. The Christmas
Yes.
lights are now. It's absolutely stunning. So I get a chance to see City Hall from my balcony. I'm not sure if the lights are on now. I was
Yeah.
going to try to show. But I don't think the lights are on. But
We're
I
gonna have
could
to
not have
imagine. We're gonna imagine.
not imagined the most perfect location for me to land. I'm right by 2 metro stations. I'm right by everything I need is within walking
It's,
distance
it's
from where
within.
I'm at.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everything you need. So it was like, even though you didn't know,
and
you
that's an important part too that I really want to bring home
okay.
is that because a lot of people were telling me, my max budget was 900, and
Yes.
by Portuguese standards, 900 is a lot of
That
money. But
is.
coming from where I was paying $2,300 a month for an apartment, all right. So kind of do the math. I mean,
Yes.
me, it was not a lot. I was paying $2,300 for an apartment, and when I was just renting a room in San Diego, it was $1,100 a
Oh,
month
stop.
just
Oh,
for a bed.
no.
And so that was my budget. Folks told me I was crazy. There's no way you're gonna find, that in a downtown Porto. I got a brand new apartment with air and heat, which is
And
very
he.
rare here.
Yeah. Okay.
Very super rare. Marble bathroom. The apartment was practically brand new for
Yes.
$850 a month. For $850. My budget and my bills, for me to cover all of my bills, including groceries and all of my monthly bills, I pay about $1,600 a month.
That is absolutely like nothing compared to being almost anywhere in the United States. Seriously.
Six, yeah. And like I said, my rent, $2,300. I'm able to live off less than what my rent was.
But
To
look,
have a better quality
and have
of
a better
life.
quality of life. But that's also the thing too, is like you taking this leap and even shrinking your budget, leaving corporate America, you shrank your budget, right? You still got what you needed, right? Actually got a better quality of life, but in doing that allowed you financially as well to not have so much strain to start this business. Because just think, if you were
Right.
still on your bills that you had in San Diego, you would really think twice.
There you go. And because because my overhead is so low, and
Yes.
I'm like a freelancer doing this, then I'm not, for $850, as long as I can keep my basic bills, like $1,200 a month is all of my bills without me eating.
And we know you got to eat. Look, we know you're going to eat.
Listen, if you could just come up with $1,200 a month, you're gonna have somewhere to stay and be able to keep warm now. And you can go out
Exactly.
a couple of and food is so incredibly cheap here too. So I
Yes.
eat well, able to live well. I knew I had found the right place when I went to the grocery store and bought a pack of chicken wings for €1.50.
Oh, I was amazed. The grocery prices were insane, like so low, and the quality. I tell everyone, and people are like, you never think, I mean, who thinks about a head of lettuce, right? But when you go to a store and they're €1 and they're this big, like they're beautiful
Yeah.
and like right out of the ground, you have no idea.
Yes. Seriously. So yeah, everything. I'm so happy. I told my daughters I will live and die in Europe. This is where, seriously, I feel so confident. Like this is where I want to spend the rest of my life here on Earth. I
On
know
earth.
that I will. That this would be that this will be home base for me. I will
Yes.
always visit the, the family, but as far as my home base and a place that I really want to spend the last remaining time of my time here on earth, however long that is, this is where
Hmm.
I really want to be. And
And
that
it's
feels good to find your resting place, a place where
yeah,
you can really enjoy the years of your life.
yes.
Absolutely.
And I
Well,
think that's
next chapter.
the next chat.
I don't
Yeah.
want to put universe. I'm saying I'm not saying I'm saying I'm ready to go now. I'm saying
No, you
the
like, we're not
next chapter.
done. We're not done right now. Let's,
We're just getting started on this next chapter, but it feels good to be in this next chapter of my life here, and I can't wait to see what else is written. I can't wait.
yes, you can't. Now, is it, I would say this, because you talked about how this is like, there was a heaviness in doing all this. You're not, you don't want to downplay how difficult the decision was and the move to make, but how did you keep going? I want to ask you, like, looking back, how
So,
did you keep going?
um, for one, I rested. That's the main thing. They said never make a decision when you're happy, angry, lonely, or tired. So
Mm,
whenever I overwhelmed with the decision, I would just halt. I would just
okay.
cancel out my day, a nice nap, or I would take a nice train ride to another city and just really
Okay.
allow myself work through whatever I was feeling or whatever I
Mhm.
needed to work out. I would just allow space in my day or even the next day to let that naturally
Okay.
unfold. In here, the culture, it teaches you to really slow down.
Mhm.
So I think here, and it forces you to slow down and to not take things, that I have to wait for everything. Nothing ever happens on my time. So there's a
Yes.
certain level of letting go that
Mhm.
naturally has come just by sheer nature of living here in Portugal.
Wow.
Nothing ever. So I don't wait of things. I'm not as type A about things as I
Okay.
was in. I don't have to get everything done today,
Right.
and if things are not working, and not working out in that day, then I put it off on the time when I know that I have the bandwidth to deal with it. So
Mhm.
learning how to self-soothe, learning how to
Mhm.
just let the natural course of the day just help me to unravel things. It's not necessarily a formula. It's more of an everyday practice that has really had me in
Yes.
that mind. Like, you know what? Well, that ended up working itself out, and that's the beauty of it.
It
Things
does.
always work themselves out
They
without us
they
having to do.
they do. They do. Sometimes
They are,
it is one of those where you have to get out the way, like allow the time or
yes,
whatever to happen. And I think living here, like living in the fast pace, like you said, of the US, it is very much type A. Like you need to be on your game. You need to feel like you're doing something,
right,
trying to figure stuff out all the time. You don't have time to rest. You have to, you know what I
right,
mean?
exactly.
You need to figure out all these things all the time. I love that the lifestyle in general, the culture is allowing you to move into that. So
Yeah,
now when you have something that's heavy on your mind, and I tell people I have to not necessarily force the issue here, but for myself, when there's something on my mind that I feel like my mind is trying to figure out the answer and I don't know the answer, I clear my mind before bed. Like I have an evening routine and I clear my
right.
mind before bed. And like you said, I rest. I give that away and I'm like, I need help with this. I'm going to put this over here and I'm going to go.
Yes.
And yeah.
I how many life's uncertainties or whatever, that I was, maybe processing within a day. I could not tell you how many times the answer has came after a good rest. My
Yeah,
mind just needed to rest. And sometimes during my nap, when I would wake up, it would just be, oh, okay. So much clarity. Oh, okay, do this. Like seriously, do this. It was just this whole thing of like, okay, I got it. And sometimes it's just that matter of us just resetting,
it is.
you know, however many times that we need to do that too, allowing
Exactly.
ourselves to reset and let life just recalibrate itself. And the answer always comes.
That's so true. That's so true. I feel like we don't end up going without. The answers either come or they're provided for you or they work themselves out. Oh, definitely. And sometimes you don't even need to be involved and they work themselves out.
Oh, exactly. So yeah, yeah. So I have there's a certain level of Portuguese trust, and that's a big word here. You can get into that. You cannot trust anything that's done here in Portugal, but there's a certain level of Portuguese trust, comfort in the unpredictable. I have mastered being okay with the unpredictable, and I
Oh,
thought I would care.
really?
A dime here, and I have gotten comfortable with the unpredictable.
But that's always to our benefit, right?
Absolutely.
It's always to
Absolutely.
our benefit. If we can get to that point where we're like, you know what, I'm okay. I don't know. We're gonna go and we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Yes.
And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm looking at this picture behind you because we need to talk about this
Yeah.
photograph and the
I
meaning.
have to let you go because I got to really jump on some cooking. But I took this photo. This is my segue to say goodbye. This my I took this last year in the States. This was my Bridget Jones reimagined photo. I asked the photographer, this is how on a perfect day in Portugal, I want you to capture this whole vintage, laid back feel like if I was in my loft, looking out the windows, looking at records, listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, what that would look like. So he set up everything in his photo, but this outfit, this was just what I had on just to get ready. I was supposed to change. This was just a test shot that he did just to see. Okay, I'm gonna see, just to get the lighting right. And when I
Yes.
tell so perfect that we end up going with it. But I love this photo that I had blown up on canvas in my apartment. And it's funny, if you look around my apartment, there are elements of my apartment that look just like things in this photo. And when I look at her, this to me captures me at my best self, at my most reimagined self. It's such a beautiful photo, and I'm so proud that I was able to capture what it would if I was living my highest best self. What would that look?
And that's what I
And,
love about that picture. And
and
that picture is gore, but it's beautiful. Like if people go to your website, they will see the picture.
yes,
And it is
yes,
it is absolutely beautiful. And the fact that you shared with me, you were like, this is literally pieces of my life now in this picture that was painted before I got here.
seriously, there are elements like the floors of my apartment. There are elements in my apartment that you see, or even if I look out of my windows, the colors of the walls is the color of the tiles on the building. It's like this was in Huntsville, Alabama, but it fits so perfectly where God planted me right here in
That's
Porto,
it.
Portugal.
Yes, yes.
Only God could do that.
And
Only He could do that.
oh, that is true. That's the only way that that happens. And for you to
Only
recognize it. And for you to recognize it.
yeah. And I'm so grateful that you have taken the time to have me to share my story. Thank you so much for having
Oh,
me.
Bridget, I'm so happy we were able to connect again because it had been a little time, but you have
Yeah.
been busy. Rightfully so, you have been busy. doing what she.
Yes.
So I'm so happy that you spent time with me today. And I'll make sure that in the link, everyone that's watching, you guys, in the links below, I'll have access to, how you can find Bridget.
Absolutely.
And if you are in Portugal and in Porto, please roll up and get some
Yes.
food.
Reimagined is my incubator for people to live, to reimagine their best life. And Southern Gal in Portugal is literally, it is the baby that was birthed from me doing the very thing that I reimagined myself doing here.
Yes.
So please follow me, Don't Reimagine, or Southern Gal in Portugal. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And if you're coming through Porto and you want a curated dinner, please call me up.
Ooh. That's going to be on my next trip. Because remember, I still haven't been to Porto. So that's on my 2024 when we come back. We have not been to Porto. We did Lisbon we did like Lisbon South. Now we're going to Lisbon and do North.
That's right.
So, well, thank you.
Oh, it's the best city. So you say the best for last.
I keep hearing that. Y'all who live in Porto, y'all are diehard Porto. I'm telling you.
I'm so serious. And you will visit here. Porto is fabulous.
We're going to see when I get there. I know you're right, but I know you're right, but we're going to see.
I know, right?
Yes. Well, thank you for spending time with me, Bridget. And I just want to tell everyone, again, make sure that you're following Bridget, follow her story, because these types of things, even though this is Bridget's story, you have the capability to build your own story too. You just need to keep hearing it from other women who are in it and doing it, and you can do the same thing. So thank you for spending time with us today, and goodbye from me and Bridget.